All right, everyone, welcome back. My name is Stephen Simon, your host of the day, and we are back after a really, really long break of I think 2 to 3 months of the CSharpCorner MVP show. But I'm really happy to be back. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Stephen Simon, and yeah, if you are someone who is watching us for the very, very first time, that's CSharpCorner. We do many, many live shows and many, many conference. I usually end up saying that we do so many live shows that we stream 8 days in a week. So yeah, so that is it about. So today I'm really excited for the C Sharp show. This is one of my favorite show because I get to meet people who have been contributing onto the platform. I only see their pictures, their articles, but through this live show, I get to talk to them. And in today's episode, we have someone really interesting joining us today. He's from I don't know. He lives in Bangladesh, but he's from Nepal. But yeah, we are talking about Rijwan Ansari. Rijwan. I was just checking his quick brief about his power. I was just checking his C Sharp profile, and I found that his articles have been read over close to million times. Can you believe it? His articles have been read close to million times, and he's a Microsoft MVP. My goodness, I need to talk about Microsoft MVP. He was recently awarded with Microsoft MVP, and I'm gonna go ahead and talk about his journey of becoming a Microsoft MVP too. He works on a lot of technologies: SharePoint, Power Platform, data, AI, Azure ML, cognitive services. So without any further ado, let's bring in our guest of the show. Welcome, Rijwan. Welcome to the C CSharpCorner MVP show.
Hi Simon, thank you CSharpCorner, and yes, it is my first MVP show, and I'm really excited. So yeah,
Thanks, Rijwan, to begin for accepting the invitation, and thanks for coming in branded. I don't know how cold it is at your place, but at my place it is pretty cold. I don't know how you're managing it with that t-shirt. So thanks, Rijwan. All right. So we're gonna do chit chat. So we have two options. Either we can do chit chat now, or we can do chit chat towards the end because I believe you have a lot to cover. How do you want to take this from here?
I think I will start the session, and during the session we'll do chit chat, and we will try to do in last as well. I'll put 5 minutes or 10 minutes discussion
Okay.
forum.
Okay. All right, perfect. That makes sense. So please feel free to go ahead and share your screen, Rich one. From the bottom of your screen, you get an option to share. And for everyone who's watching today, we're going to talk about, Rijwan is going to talk about clean architecture with .NET 6 using repository pattern and EF. These things goes over my head. I don't understand any bit of it. So if you have any questions related to this topic, please keep coming. Oh, all right, we have Prasad Kumar, we have Satya Karki, well-known faces over here. So Rijwan, I see a screen. I have added it to the stream. Everybody else can see it. And next 45 to 50 minutes is all yours.
Thank you. So let me go back to my slide. Yeah. So Simon already introduced me. Thank you. I'm Rijwan Ansari. I'm research and technology lead in Tech One Global. I have 10 plus years of experience in software development and business application. I'm a Microsoft MVP and also CSAP Corner MVP. So I'll quickly go into the overview of today's session. So I'll discuss brief about what is clean architecture, and then I'll give basic principle behind clean architecture, architectural diagram, and layers of clean architecture. Then we will do a clean architecture design from scratch, and I'll implement a repository pattern with entity framework. And at last I will add some recommendations. So during this session we'll not be able to cover like all the things, so whatever we will cover we'll cover, but rest of the things I'll put under recommendation. So clean architecture. Now the main idea is here to keep your core solution independent upon the external UI or database or a kind of external services, so on, so that your architecture or your core solution, which consists of use cases or business logic and entities, will be independent upon the presentational layer, database or external service, and this will be the core of your whole solution. Now the idea here is to do is so that we know that it will be a more adaptive and flexible enough to deal with the cutting edge technologies. As we know, like technology is changing so rapidly, and we don't know like when our database we might need to switch, or when we are going to change our front end, because these are changing so frequently, and maybe the business case also may change. So based on that, we should design a solution so that with minimal changes we will be able to adapt with the latest technologies. So the basic principle, like when we design the core application, it should be independent upon the UI. We are not, I mean, considering UI of core application has no any dependencies with UI. So anytime you can change your UI. And then another thing is your database. It should be independent upon your database. Today you are using SQL Server. You might use SQL Server Lite for your test environment, and you might use MongoDB in the future. And it should be independent of external service or devices, or kind of external SDKs, framework independent, and it should be testable. I mean, your core application should be testable without any, I mean, UI or database or any external services. So thanks to Uncle Bob, like he has given a very cool diagram. It's very easy to understand what is a clean architecture. So from this diagram, let me just take my pen here. Yeah. From this diagram, we can clearly understand like entities is in the base, which is surrounded by use cases, and then controllers, representer, web. These are on the outer layer, and dependencies flows from external to internal. So you can see entities has no any dependency. Use cases has dependency with entities, which means your use cases means core business logic. So this is how you're gonna understand it from another way, like the dependency is following from inner to outer, and the core and external public I mean cell are dependent upon the controllers, then controllers on use cases likewise. So let's compare with entire. So our entire one of I mean entire and clean architecture are mostly commonly used approaches in the software development. So if we see our entire we use the data access layer to save the data into database, and data access layer is referred in business logic, and business logic is finally referred into UI. So you can see business logic have full dependency on the data access layer. Now let's move to our clean architecture. So clean architecture is different in the sense like here the core contains entities and application logic or use cases, and your UI is depend upon use cases, and infrastructure also depend upon use cases. Infrastructure will include your data access layer to save the data into database. All the external services or interfaces or file systems are connected with infrastructure. So we can observe like this core system will always remain independent on UI, infrastructure, or external services. So this is all the, I mean, main idea behind the clean architecture. So what comes under core? So under core, what we call application or application plus entities will have entities, and then interface, and then services or manager we call, and it will have some shared libraries that will be used in our business application, like value objects, exception handling or error handling, that is mostly for business logic, validators, event handler, guards. This all comes under core. Now infrastructure, we implement DB context, repositories, external API or service, email, SMS, file system, SDK. But for all these, we define the interface into the core, so that we will have a communication through interface. Now UI. So UI, you can have any UI, since your core application is independent upon the UI. You can use API endpoints, controller, razor page, MVC, or filters, API plus front end. This all comes under presentation layer. So let's take a quick, we'll design one small solution. I'm in one of my VM. So this is one a blank solution. I have created 3 folder: core, host, and infrastructure. So I'm gonna arrange my all the libraries under this folder. Even you can ignore if you want. You can just keep outside of the folder as well. You don't need folder, but I feel like keeping in the folder will make you more arrange, and the structure will be more clean, because when we start the real application development, like soon we will get overwhelmed with lots of libraries. So this folder will help us to arrange it more correctly. So first we will design core. So under core I'm going to add uh, um, let me add a class called entity first. So this will be our domain. I'm going to use .NET 6. So under this entities, domain is our core. All the entities we will keep under this domain library. Yeah. So after that I'll add some more folders. So common. Common will contains all the common classes like base entity or editable entities. And then I'll create another class, another folder for, let's say, master. So master related all the entities I'll keep under this folder. Then again I'll add another folder called, let's say, product. So all the product related entities will be, and so this is one way of arranging. So we know like we will have several tables. I mean, within few days you will come to know like you will have 100 plus I mean entities in your application. Those entities, it will be, I mean, easy for you if you arrange those as a business case wise. So all the product related entities you can keep under product, and master related entities under master. So I'm just first I'll complete my base common. So I'll add one base class. So this is my base entity. Yeah, so I'll replace with one of my sample. Yeah, so base entity is here. It is abstract class because we are going to inherit this into all of our entities, because this will reflect our ID, which will be a primary key. And I'm keeping t so that I want to make this as a dynamic. If I need integer, then I will pass as an integer. If I need long, sometime we use geo id as a, I mean, key. So based on that I can change it, and then I'll add editable interface. So for this, what is the purpose, I'm gonna explain soon. Yeah. So this also I'll just take one sample from my one. Yeah. So most of the table, if we know we wanna add editable properties, that will be like is deleted, created, author, modified, and editor. So I'm gonna implement this again into one abstract class that will be editable with space. So let me add again it. So we can consider these two both as a base entity. So one base entity we only need a key. Another base entity I keep, like in some table we might not need editable. I mean this column, this property. So we can just use base entity. So let's give example for both. I'll add one sample entity called app setting. Mm. Yeah, so here I'm gonna again replace with one my sample. So here I'm taking base entity, I'm inheriting, and this is with integer, so my key will be integer, and I have four properties like reference key, value, description, type, and description is a nullable. Now similarly under product I want to keep one another entity called category. So let's say under product I'm putting one category. So let me replace again this with one sample. Yeah, now here I'm taking editable with base, means let's change this int into long. So I will create key with long, and I will have some editable properties. So this is how I completed my domain layer. So this is the base of your application where we are starting. Now I will add application. So application will contain our core business logic, services likewise, and infra I'll add library for infrastructure. Infrastructure. Host I will add in the last. So now my application will add as a reference as a entity, I mean domain. So domain is referred here. Now infrastructure will be referred with application. So if you see entire solution, there we actually refer infrastructure or data access layer into application, but here we are doing in reverse way. Application will be referred in infrastructure, because core will not depend on any project, but all other projects may depend upon the core. Yeah. So for my application also we need some common uh, features. So common is there. So how we gonna arrange it? So under common we try to keep our error, where we gonna handle our exceptions or error. Then we keep some common interface. So we will have a interface, then we might have mapping, where we do the mapping of our object. Then what can go under common? Yeah, you can have some common model. So maybe like response model or something. So those all are, you can put under common. And another way, now I'll put again master. So all the services we define again according to the use cases. So master, then again I'm gonna add a new folder called product catalog. So this is my another use case. So this is how we're gonna arrange it here. Now I need some NuGet packet for my application actually. So let me add this quickly. Yeah, so I need entity framework core. Yeah, I need entity framework core, and I need JSON framework. So we can use this lab package. And what I need further, yeah, I need again dependency abstraction, because I want to put all the dependency within that class. So I'll be using that as a another package. Yeah. So yeah, all done for my application. So first thing I'll implement my interface. So overall, this is how we gonna, a base we start, and for front end I'm gonna use a simple web API. Yeah, yeah, let's keep this as it is. Again, your web API, add project reference. So we are again going to add application and infrastructure on the front end. So this is how the base level of application is designed. So here we design our domain is referred to application. Now application is referred to infrastructure, application is referred to web API. So you can see overall our core is remaining independent of all these host and infrastructure. So this is how we gonna start a base level of clean architecture. Then further we can elaborate like implementing entity framework or likewise. So next step what I'm gonna do, I will again implement a generic repository pattern with entity framework within same solution. So let me again go back to my solution. Yeah. So to implement, first I need to create the interface in application. So my interface of application DB context will come here. Let me add it here, class. So first I will implement entity framework. Then I will do another case for uh, generic repository pattern. Yeah. So my interface is here. Again I will replace this with one of my sample. So here what we do, we define one data set for each of the our entity. This is a generic way, like you can do this way as well. Now our entity is done here, so let's go to infrastructure. So infrastructure, where we are going to implement our DB context. So here again I will create one persistent. Yeah. Now here under infrastructure persistence, we gonna add our application DB context and also entity framework repository. Likewise, we will do all our database related stuff here. So I'm gonna add my application DB context here. So again I'll just replace this with one sample one. Yeah. So let me just give some background. Here I'm just defining the constructor and I have implemented DB context here. These are my data set, and this is the shape changes. During the shape changes, since the table which is containing editable properties, we can just update here. We don't need to write this for every editable properties, so we can directly get created by, modified by when the entity is added or modified, then we can modify it by. And here I'm putting id 1, but in real application we get the current user. That also we get through the interface. We create one I current user, and from there we get a user id, and we replace this id with the current user id. So whenever our entity is added or modified, we will automatically get the this editable record. Or if you don't want to implement, you can simply remove it, and you can keep this part only. So that's pretty much. Another thing I have applied, like whenever we apply any configuration to our entity, this will run and it will apply those entity when we are doing database update or when we push this sync up in database. So that is done. Now let me add my and all the necessary packages required for infrastructure. So I'm gonna add NuGet package. Mhm. So I need design because all my design will be here. So I'm gonna add this design package. Then I need I will be using SQL Server for this demo, so I'm gonna use SQL Server, Entity Framework Core SQL Server, and then I'll be using tools. I need tools, and furthermore I need some configuration related package because I'll take connection string, or maybe we take sometime some application setting from web. So that also we're gonna use here. I need configuration environment variable, so I'm gonna add this. This is done. Then I need file extension. Sometime we read file and we get from there file extension. Then I'm gonna add JSON. Yeah, and again what I need, yeah, dependency injection, because I want to do the dependency injection within this class. I don't want to keep all the dependency injection into web. Yeah, done. So now since I have done here, so my persistent is done. Now I will do the I will add dependency injection class here. You can keep any name. I prefer keeping dependency injection. It's easy to understand. And I'm gonna replace this with one of my sample. I'm just removing this part for now. So let me explain you. Here we are getting connection string app database from our app setting, and then we are just implementing our application DB context with actual application implementation is here. Now let's go to my web program, and I need to call my dependency injection here, and also I need to provide the app setting here. So first let me apply my service collection here. So it should come before your application build. So I have not used any dependency. Okay, let me add one dependency injection in application as well, because we need as well. So yeah, so here I'm gonna just copy and replace with one my sample, and I just remove this part for now. It is here. Let me check if directive common master. Let me check. This is public. Yeah, another feature just I missed. We have in .NET 6 when we are using, we can use a global, so that we can refer that command to everywhere. So let me again go back here. It should be, I think, product. So let me just remove this for now. Yeah, so my dependency injection is done. Let me build one time my application. So another thing we have missed here. Okay, my I collection add application. Okay, yeah, I need to just add the reference of application, and another, this is coming from persistent. So let me build it again. All done. So another thing we have missed here, like we need to provide the connection string in apps rating. I will copy it from here. Sample. Repo sample. Yes. So now my base is almost ready. So let me add migration. Add migration. Now here I add migration. So let's see. Yeah, actually this is one bug we found in .NET 6. Actually the message is not clear here. We need to set this as a startup project. Then you will not get that error, and we have to add another package here that is also a design here. Yeah, this is done. So let's again go back to our NuGet package, and again I'll add migration. So your domain doesn't match with the assembly infrastructure. Okay, let me check my infrastructure. Domain is there. So here my application is here. Let me check my domain. App setting is here. It's a public class, and this is also public class. Let me go back to error. Your domain doesn't match the migration assembly infrastructure central either. In the target project. Oh, actually here I need to choose the infrastructure, sorry. So again let me add migration. Yeah, so this is succeed. Now I'll update database. Since it is running, I'll check my time. Yeah, so now since it is done, let me show you the table here. Refresh it. Yeah, so our table is done here. So another thing we can do here, like we can apply configuration to our entity. Like let's say we want to limit the length of certain column. Likewise, so for that what we do, we again go here in persistence and we'll add one configuration. So this configuration we can again here we can again since we are going to have lots of tables and lots of entities, so better we just again put it as a like a test case. So master related all the entities setting I'll put under master. So let me create one master related entities. Add here class my configuration. So under this configuration, what I will do, I'll apply my configuration. Like let's say my app setting reference key will have maximum 100 length, and then value will have 500, description will have max 500, and these are required. Those all configuration you can apply here. So I will apply only for that. Similarly we can apply for our other category table, category entity. So let me again add migration. Add migration, we added configuration. So just run it again. Yeah, so here there will is, it's saying a warning loss of data, because earlier we did not give any configuration. So if you have any data more than let's say 100 length, and you have defined 100 length, so your data might lost. So that's one, that warning is coming. Let's see our current table. So here you can say it has a max varchar. Now let me just update it. Now it is updated. Let's refresh again. Still refreshing. Let me refresh whole table. Since it is done, now it will apply those all settings. It takes some time, so until it takes time, we can just continue other part here. I'll come back there. Now furthermore we want to apply entity framework. Just I want to check time, how much time I have spent. 39 minutes. So still I have 20 minutes, so I think I can make it. So yeah, now we're gonna implement repository pattern here. So for repository, what we're gonna do here, we'll first define our interface. I'm gonna go approach with generic repository, so I'm just following likewise. So in my generic repository pattern, I have add like structure for add, update, delete by object, delete by way condition, where you can delete based on way condition, get object. Here I'm putting object because maybe we get sometime by integer or some long, or sometime by even GUID, so it will be dynamic. I can get based on expression. I can get many record based on expression. This will return me single record. This will many, or I can get all record. I can get count. I can get count with expression. Then I can get table, IQable. Sometimes we use IQable because we might need to do further queries in our business application, like sorting, order by, or multiple join. So for that it will help us. Sometimes we try to read the table with no tracking, so that we will have a better performance. And this only when we do, only when we are reading the table. Now let me implement it here. So for this I need I'm going to use entity framework one. So I'm gonna add entity framework repository. Yeah, so I'm gonna again replace what one sample. Yeah. So here, let me just minimize to definition. So here I have implemented all my repository, and I mean those repositories like add, update, and delete. This delete by where condition will delete by range. So all these things are implemented here. So it's very, I mean, we can know now all the queries, whatever we need for the table or whatever we want to do with entities. These all are almost all the things we can do with this basic repository, and we can do it for all the tables, not only for, I mean, not for one entity. Since we are going generic pattern, so here now there are some few more things you can do, like let's say I have applied here, like sometime what happen when we do changes, and if we fail to add one record, and if we get any exception and we want to roll back all the changes, we can just write this, and also we can write some tracking related track or log error logger, those things we can apply here. Now since I use repository, another thing what I want to do here, I want to use unity of work. So for unity of work, we can I need to check. Yeah, so I'm just gonna add one unit of work interface. So unit of work will give me one another advantage, like I can just bind all my repo, all entities repo in one single place, so that I will have a flexibility to call through one unit. Yeah. So here I'm using my app setting entity and category setting, and I'm creating a repo. Let's just quickly implement this in our. So here you can see I'm just adding the interface, and implementation I'm doing because our application should know nothing about the database. It is just pure business logic. Now I'm gonna add here implementation of unit of work. So this again I'll replace with my sample. It's easy for me to show and explain. Now here also just I yeah, so here what I did, I just took all my unit of work repository together. So now I can even begin transaction, commit, rollback, all I'm bringing into one, and my all repositories are here. So with this my repository is almost generic repository is ready. So let's do one trial. I'll create one master interface and master service for our app setting, the table that we created. So let me go here. I'll create one interface. Interface and master service. So I'm just replacing this with on my sample. So I'm doing I don't need this to just remove it. Yeah, so I'm doing getting all get by id, upsert means insert, update, and delete, and its implementation I'm again I'll create service for this. So with this I'm just yeah, again I don't need this TTO mapping, just removing. So let me just again go and out collapse it. Yeah, now if I want to do any kind of operation, so I just need to call this unit of work. I'll call in constructor, and with that I'll be able to access all the repositories. So if I want to do upsert, simply one function I'll write. I'll just get the app setting, update or add based on ID, And in .NET Core still I could not find add update. We can achieve it in this way, but in entity framework, .NET framework, there is a option like add update, that to automatically add an update. And here is my command like upsert or delete, and here is my queries. I mean, if I want to get all records or get by ID, so likewise I can just here I use no tracking because I this is just my read command, and that's why I created one no tracking as well, and I can do order by grouping, or I can do multiple join likewise. So I will have all the things with this generic repository pattern. Now let's implement this into the front end side. So your generic repository pattern is done, you have implemented it. So all the implementation we are doing in infrastructure side, because that is depending upon your database. Maybe it might change if you change your database, and but your application remains always same, because this is completely based on your interface. It's communicating through interface. Now let me just show you the how we gonna implement this into the front end side. So to implement this into the front end, you can implement either way, like you can do it with API based solution or MVC or Razor Page, anyone. So just let me show you how you can do it. Now I have kept here all the sample, but in actual solution we choose only one path. Either I want to develop the application with Razor Pages or MVC pattern or API based solution. This will be, but here for sample I have kept all. So if I'm gonna use, let's say for MVC, so I'm gonna just initiate my service, and I will call and I will do a transmission from, I mean in DTO means our view model. We give any name. It's if we go if we use API based solution, then we generally call it as a DTO, but when we use MVC, then we call same thing as a view model. So you are converting your actual model into the view model. So I just use my service to get all record, and I'm converting this into my view model, and I'm passing that DTO into view. So this is how I can implement into my MVC way, and I can show this in the view. If I go to API model, so API base also you can just create our APIs same way, but just we gonna call our service and our all the functions. Here in API base I recommend to keep all your response in one format. For that I have created a common response model. Let me show the definition. Common response model. So my response I have divided into two. Like if it is succeed, I will get response with true and success message and output. If it is fail, then I'll get false since the response is false, and error message. So likewise we can just generalize it, and whatever we are getting failure or success, based on that we can pass our responses. Now similarly if I want to use for Razor Page, I'll go this and sample this Razor Page also, like I'll just initiate the service. I will get the service, and I'll just pass it to my properties, and I'll get it to my page. So let's check this in the browser. It's running here. So yeah, if I use Razor Page assembly, I'm using it here, and this is my API. Like if I want to implement this into, I mean for a separate front-end framework, I can use in this way. And if I want to use MVC, I can use the MVC. So here I'm showing the content in my view. So that's way like your application is remaining core. If you change your front end, like if you want to go with another API version or Razor Page, whatever, it will remain always same. So that is the main goal of having clean architecture. And today you are using SQL Server, tomorrow you might use the SQLite for your test environment. So those things also you can just change quickly in your infrastructure side, but your core application will remain same. Now let me give, now this day even if you want Angular front-end framework, you can use Angular front-end framework, and you, since it is a API, then you can use any front-end. That will not stop you to use any kind of front-end framework. So that's how we can do all the solution design. But if we go for actual solution, so there are some more things that we need to consider. So let me give some of the recommendation. Like when your design can be in different way. Like you might put your entity also in your the model or business cases, use cases. So that is also way, but we need to consider only the principle. Like your code should be independent with the front end or infrastructure or external services. You can implement CQRS with Mediator. That will give you another advanced level of implementation. And entities, we should not use any kind of framework or any even data annotation. Better if you want to validate your entities, you can use Fluent validation. That is also in the application, so it will be in your use cases. But we are not going to, we keep all the model entities intact as it is. We are not doing much validation there. Some validation we can add if it is applied for, commonly for all entity. You can organize services entities based on your use cases. It will give you easy way of structuring the project. You should, this day it is recommended to use domain event, so that you can get your database, when you are updating one model domain, it will communicate the way, so that you can prevent yourself from deadlock. Functional testing, another one main thing for clean architecture. We should do the testing. In this sample, I have not included the test, so it is recommended. We should use the functional test with less dependencies, and it should not depend upon the front end or database. So that's how I have some references here. Uh, you can just uh, follow one article from CSharpCorner, what is clean architecture, to get a better insight of what is clean architecture. What are its layers, what are the design principles, those things you'll get. And also there are some other references. These are, even there are some templates, a very good templates designed by these guys. You can, they have done very good, a standard template. You can directly call in your Visual Studio, and you can even get their solution code, and you can start modifying yourself from where you want to start. So that's thing all from my side. Now if you have any question or queries, you can keep in your comment box. Now I would like to do some chit chat with our Simon.
All right, Rion, that was an absolutely amazing session. Although it went over my head, but I could see all the so much efforts that you've added in the demo, and then creating these slides. So there was less slides and a lot of demos going on. So thank you so much for putting up all the efforts. We don't have much time to wrap the show, but there's one question from Dilip Kumar. He's asking how to avoid CSRF in .NET Core API. You're muted.
Sorry, I did not understand his question fully. CSRF.
Okay, not a
Anyway,
problem.
yeah.
Dilip, maybe you can go ahead and maybe drop more in details. And Richan, we just have about 5 minutes to wrap the show. And I was just checking, the last person I hosted on C Sharp on the MVP show was Anish Ansari. Can you believe that? You both have same surnames. Are you both related in any way?
He's from same city. Like recently, I had just come to know that he's also from my same city, the where I live in. He's also from Birganj, Nepal. So yeah,
Okay.
I had a recently I had a just connection with him.
Okay, that's okay. So when are you planning next to visit Nepal? What are your plans?
Maybe I think I'll be going last of this month, or
Oh,
maybe
really?
first week of next week. So actually, we have some work here. Once we are done, I'm pretty much. I mean, we are excited to go, because last during this all COVID duration, I have not gone to my home. So yes, I'd like to go
Okay, that's perfect. So this is an insight, Rijwan. Now it's not an insight. We're telling it to everyone that if you're in Kathmandu at around April 16, yet if you are there in April 16, so in last year in September we did a cloud summit that was for 11 days, and it was a very big conference. We're doing a small mini version of it in person in Kathmandu on April 16. So if you are around in the valley, we would love to have you there. Then we can connect. So if you are there, then we would love to have you. By the way, will you be there? I'm just curious to know.
I'll be there definitely because it's in April. So April, I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
because I'm going March first week. So
Okay.
this time
Okay.
I'll be staying more than a month. I mean, even it can be 2 months. So I'll be there. I'll catch up you, and
Okay.
definitely
Perfect.
I'm excited to meet you. Even my wife Satya, she's
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
she was thinking like if I go even Delhi, like with I'll meet definitely Simon. So we
Yeah.
both will meet
Yeah.
you.
All right, I'm really, really excited that at least I have two people to go ahead and meet from the community. I'm really, really excited. I'll definitely meet you and Satya. You both have been very, very active in the community. Um, quick question, Rijwan. I mean, I've seen your journey of C Sharp and MVP. You are at top 15 now. How did Microsoft MVP? I didn't realize that. I just saw one day there's a post that Rijwan is in Microsoft MVP. How was that journey?
I would say thanks to CSharpCorner. Like whatever I contribute here, that is also a part of. I mean that is counting especially into my
Oh,
Microsoft
oh,
MVP. So I will again say that I got CSharp MVP, which again give me a pathway to Microsoft MVP. So
oh,
yes, that is the all. I think that's the, and another thing is I got lots of guidance from the CSAP corner, like while writing articles, even making videos or like doing sessions. So what happened? Even our Rohit sir is there. He was guiding. Okay, this video has having this. Thing, so you can modify. Even in articles we get some feedbacks, those help us to improve and get better and qualitative article.
wow. Yeah, I see many people getting C# on MVP and then transitioning into Microsoft MVP. It really helps. Rijwan, thank you so much once again for an absolutely amazing content. Any final thing you want to plug in before we end the session?
Uh, I say I'll meet you soon in Kathmandu.
All right, Dai, thank you
And
so much for, yeah, go ahead.
just one thing I want like to say, like the session, what I have done. So I will just update the source code with the beta version one, and I will upload into GitHub repository, so that anybody want to go and get the sample, they can download from there. So I will share that link. I will write an article in CSAP corners. They can follow, and they will get full repository in there.
That's perfect. Go ahead and check out Rijwan's profile on C Sharp Corner in some time, and he's going to update it over there. Having said that, Rijwan Dai, thank you so much. I'm really excited to go ahead and meet you in person in about 2 months. I can't wait to meet you and Satya. Thank you so much once again, and hope to see you soon. Ta-ra. Bye. Bye.
Same here. Bye.